So hello YouTube, I'm going to make a video on this sump. I have already done one. I'm going to try to be more comprehensive, and it will probably be the last because I'm upgrading this tank to a bigger one, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to use the same system. I don't know if it will fit on the other tank, so I'll have to figure it out. But if one thing is sure, is it is an amazing filtration system, and ideal for the lazy guy because all the gunk is basically recovered over there. So I'm going to go through the system once again. So we have a basic planter box in which I only drilled one hole and put a bulkhead and a pipe that basically goes to the tank. So the higher the bulkhead, the higher the level in the sump, which you want to try to have it as high as possible. Then I've basically used sponges, biomedia to do. I didn't even bother doing compartments, but just the sponges and the biomedia create separations by themselves. I put a plastic bottle which I cut, and I put these plants to grow in it. There's holes in it now. It's tight because I feel there's roots in there. Anyways, there's holes in it, so basically the water flows through the holes. The water get their nutrients from the water. Just to give you an example, I put this piece in there a couple months ago, and look, so the roots are growing perfectly in there. Now I've put some this is some Purigen. It's on top of a sponge, I think, or some other biomedia. Yeah, there's biobulk there. Okay, another sponge to make a first separation, and this is where I separate really the nasty stuff. I have it off right now so I can take the pipe and move it. I'll show you how that's done later. What I have is I had an orchid pot in which I had drilled some holes on the top. Basically, you have the holes that come. Actually, I made them bigger. Yeah, I had made them bigger. I used a soldering iron to melt holes in this, and there's holes also at this level. And what I do basically every couple of days, I take away that filter floss, throw it away, put a new piece in. And it's very accessible. It's perfect for the lazy guy like me, because my filter is below some panels under the tank, my external filter, and it's a pain to remove the lid. It's an FX6, and so it would take too long if I wanted to do it frequently. So basically this allows me to trap a lot of the food or gunk that I want to trap, and basically replace it very quickly in a couple of minutes, and that's done, and I keep it clean like that. So in here, I don't know if you can see, there's another bag with biomedia below. So this little glass there basically sits on top of here. There's more Purigen. I love Purigen. It keeps the water very clean. And this is the airlift. Now, most people might be more successful with an actual small pump or power head in the tank that feeds this with some type of just a hose. Okay, now I did want a PVC system, so basically it's a pipe. It is cut at an angle below there so that it doesn't sit flush onto the bottom of the tank, and that allows the suction never to be compromised. Basically there's a T here. The air goes out this way and the water falls out this way. So basically a T and an elbow and straight in there. Now I've had to be careful and add this piece, because otherwise, because of the water pressure coming in, this was shifting and going backwards and it was spilling on the floor behind the tank. So this little piece is really necessary. Now this airline tubing obviously goes inside this pipe all the way down, almost pretty much all the way down here, and that is what's creating the bubbles and creating the lift and sucking the water up, right? What I've done is I've put it basically on a system where I can cut it off, turn it on and off. So this is fully off and that's fully on. Now when it's fully on, you can actually see how, well, it doesn't seem to be sucking, but it does actually work very well. Okay, I just fed, so I don't want to suck all the food, but look at the, now it's noisy, so I have the possibility of kind of closing it a little bit, still get water going through, and it's much more silent. So it's you know, you can regulate it. Okay, now I'm turning it off. What else can I tell you about this? Okay, this lift works very well and is very strong, but I am not sure it would work on a standard aquarium pump. This airline is coming from a big pump, the ones used in the shops. So I could run a lot of tanks. In fact, I run 2 or 3 tanks, and plus water aging containers, and all these extra bubbles there. I run it all with the same pump. So it's a powerful pump. I am not sure that even the most powerful pumps out there would be able to lift all the water all the way here in an effective manner. I am not sure. I haven't tried it. I had this available. It's worked fine for me. And like I said, if you don't want to use an airlift, you can basically replace it by a power head and a hose or a pump directly into the sump. Now, another reason why I wanted the airlift, besides the fact of that I already have a air and I don't need to really pay for a pump, is that allows me to suck bigger particles. I give these guys beef heart, which are sometimes chunks of meat, and whatever they don't eat will very easily find its way up there, and I will catch it there. I was afraid that with a standard pump or overhead with a strainer, all that gunk would basically stay stuck on the strainer. Now if you feed only pellets or flaky foods, that will probably just get broken down by an impeller and be brought up, so you shouldn't have any issues. But for me, I wanted to be able to basically lift up larger pieces, so that's what I've done, and it worked beautifully. Okay, now another thing in this tank, just an add-on, I really never siphon this tank. So you can see the floor of this tank, you can see now there's food. If I turn this on, the food won't last very long. Right now the fish are going away because I'm filming, but in general I never siphon this tank. The lazy guy way. Basically, the way I draw all the food to that corner is with these other two air stones. They also create lift and suction, so that creates a natural current that brings fish gunk or waste and food. It tends to bring it all towards this corner. So when I turn it off, those bubbles are recycling the pellets and they're sending them back in circulation, and the fish will get to them. So that's what I do. I usually turn it off when I'm feeding, and a few minutes later, when I want that tank to be cleaned up, I just go ahead, I just turn it on, and there it starts doing its job. And I can bet you within, you know, half hour this tank is clean. And I've done it I think on another video where it was very, very dirty, and within 35 minutes most of it was gone. I want to specify something. The overhead sump is definitely not my idea. I've actually picked it up from Joey, the king of DIY on YouTube, and it served me well. Now the design is not exactly his design, but then again he's there to make our brains work, to give us ideas, and then we have to adapt them to our own situation. It took me a while to get it running the way it is, but at this stage I would really not change a thing. In fact, I was even thinking of building a long glass version of it, and, you know, for another tank or something, you know, coming up with ideas on how the same system could be implemented on other tanks, or in maybe a more attractive feature. It doesn't look too pretty, to be honest. But you know, I don't care. In my point of view, or you know, for my preference, is to get this fish the best water possible. Alright, I think I'm done with that. Any questions or comments, just put them down and I'll do my best to answer them.